Alright guys, part 2, talking about your face. Now, everybody's face is different. Let's start with that. Nobody's face is going to be the same. My best friend's got a very much thinner face, a little bit longer, and she's about 2 shades darker skin tone than what I am. Me, obviously, I'm fat. I've got a round face, not much definition in it, but still nonetheless, you always have to consider your skin tone, the shape of your face, the shape of your eyes on what is going to look good on you. One of the first things I always do when I'm doing my face is put a shirt that I don't care about on. Reason being is I know a lot of people who do their makeup on like these beautiful dresses or stuff like this, and it's like then they complain that they've gotten the dress dirty or they can't get the stain out. If my brain would work. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna start wearing it like this. Yes. Alright, anyway. Back to what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Oh, okay. So, you always want to keep your skin tone and the shape of your face in mind. If you have a rounder face like me, and if you're lighter skin, you want to remember that certain colors are not going to look good on you. Certain colors are going to either wash you out even more or just make your face look dirty, especially when you come to contour and highlight and stuff like that. So let's start with the basic, which is color correcting. I know so many people who get color correcting wrong. Like, thankfully, compared to other people, I do not have the dark circles under my eyes like others do. I struggle very bad with redness because I have very, very bad acne. I have something called hereditary acne, so I combat a lot of redness in my face. And another thing with people who have acne, don't go thinking that foundation is going to make it perfect. It may make it look nicer, you can get rid of the redness, but you have to remember the acne are bumps on your face. They're going to stay there. You're going to see the bumps no matter what, no matter how thick of a concealer, and if you keep packing it on, it's just going to look cakey. Now, for this tutorial, I'm going to be doing a more of a natural look. So not the heavy glamour, I don't want things to be super flat and beautiful and perfect. I'm just going for something that you can do pretty much every day. This is completely for beginners. So we're going to go back to color correcting for a second. You have to remember that you look up a color wheel, you always want to go the opposite of what you're trying to combat. So, for my redness, I use green. That's the first thing I do is color correct if I'm doing that day. Sometimes I don't always color correct because if the redness in my face is not terrible, I don't really need anything more than just a light concealer. So we'll start with this. It looks kind of blue on camera, but this is a green color corrector. And this one right here is like a salmon pink. It looks a little bit brighter, but this you can use under your eyes and stuff like that, to combat the dark circles. Or don't act like you don't have it. Hair. I know some women who do kind of get 5 o'clock shadows, and if you do get darker shadows like that, so you always have to put in consideration that if you don't color correct underneath, your face might still look uneven no matter how much foundation you use. And if you use enough to do that, you're probably going to look like a frosted cake. So let's start with color correcting. I'm going to take the green, and I've got my littlest brush here, and I'm just dipping it in lightly. Do not get too much. You want to be able to blend this out. And I have a lot of redness right here. It's hard to tell because of the lighting, and I've got a lot of redness up here. So I'm going to start right here. You just kind of want to dab it on, and it looks very extreme, but once you get it blended out and stuff, it's not going to look that bad. Got some redness here, down here. So, if you have redness, don't ever be, I know so many people who are like, oh, but I don't want to put these harsh colors on my face. It looks pretty extreme. The thing is, you need to learn how to blend out. Blending out is the number one thing on concealers and color correctings. It takes some time to learn, but you'll get it eventually. Took me forever. I'm still not perfect. I'm not a guru. And then I use my foundation brush and I just blend it out. Reason I use this is it's a little bit bigger and it's easier. It's not as densely packed as this. So this one just helps to smooth everything out. Don't get me wrong, you're still going to have a little bit of the redness underneath or the darkness underneath. You just have to keep in mind that when you put the concealer on and the foundation, it's not taking it away completely. You might want to prime your face. Everyone uses a different primer. Me personally, if I'm doing it every day, I'm not going to heavily prime my face like everybody else does. I do start out with a very clean face, make sure your face is at least washed. But moving on, next I do something called Professional. Professional, they have other ones, they have dupes for it that are cheaper, but nonetheless, this is from Benefit. Now, if you're like me, I've got horrible pores all along here and all through here. And I don't use a brush with this stuff. It's much better if you pat it on with your finger. Best thing to use is your ring finger. If you don't want to use this, you don't have to at all. Some people I know have flawless skin anyway, and half the time if I had skin like you, I wouldn't wear foundation in the first place. So what you want to do is you want to take it and you want to lightly dab it around your face where you need it. But I've got huge pores all over. So I just kind of dab that in. And again, not much pressure. Don't want to use much pressure at all. Dab it in. And it's a very silky texture. I mean, it just kind of lays right on top of your face easily. Again, you don't have to use this. This is just my preference. If you have great skin, you might not even have to use foundation. Alright, going on next, I'm going to start using concealer. Now, if I'm going for a heavier concealer, which I don't often do, I'll either use one of the ones in my palette, one of these or something, something that's lighter, or I'll use my Hard Candy. This one's pretty thick and heavy though, so I don't really like to use it that much. On a normal day, I have a duo e.l.f. concealer and highlighter. Using something heavy just kind of melts off your face after some time. This video is going to take a lot of fucking editing. I've got my concealer, and you put it where you need it. For me, I put very lightly under my eyes. I put it through here because I get a lot of acne through here. Again, I go down here. Cool. Alright. And the sides of my face. Suck it. This to blend it out. It's again the same thing I use to put on the green color correcting. So I'm just going to use that very lightly under your eyes. You do not want to go heavy under your eyes at all, because that's a very sensitive area, and I make the mistake of pulling down my eyelids when I'm putting eyeliner on. Don't hate me. It's something I do. Do as I say, not as I do. And if you take care of yourself, you'll look younger and not like you're 80 like I do. Alright, next step. Yay! Foundation. Me personally, I use MAC Pro Longwear. I've used other things like Kat Von D is very high coverage. So I take the foundation, but I put it on the back of my hand. And you don't need much. Always start out with a little and then work your way up to what you need. Reason being is this foundation is expensive. You know, if you go to Sephora and get the good stuff, I'm just going to go on a little spiel here. Don't buy makeup that is super cheap from like flea markets or things like that, or from Asian countries. Reason being, these have been known to contain lead and stuff. And you're like, man, that's a good deal. 9 times out of 10, it's probably fake. You know, it may look real. Some of the stuff I've seen looks so real, but don't get it because, again, it's very, very bad for your face. I made the mistake of one day getting a concealer from Wish, and it was like an overseas, you know, it's like this, it's like that. Shape Tape, I think. And I ended up breaking out so much worse, getting a rash all over my face. It was not a good thing. So just be cautious when you're buying. If you can't buy the high-end makeup, because I understand completely, it is so expensive. I mean, who has the money for that? Personally, I didn't start out with the more expensive makeup. If you are able to, it's definitely worth it. You know, if you get a palette for $40 and you're like me and you don't wear makeup every single day, that palette's gonna last you a long, long time, and it's going to be well worth it. But if not, go to the drugstores and stuff. Not everything is terrible there. I mean, just look up online what the best drugstore makeup is. I know some people are like, well, it just doesn't cover as well or it doesn't do this as well. Maybe not, but if you're just starting out, what's the big deal? You need to learn how to do your makeup in the first place before you need to go out and buy the super expensive stuff, because then you're just wasting your money. You're like, oh, well, I can't do my makeup, this sucks, blah, 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 and you just toss it out. What the hell are you doing, dude? It's like a black, hard. I'm back on track. Yay! Take a brush and just dab, 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 dab. Dab, 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 dab. You don't want a ton. Reason being is, again, you can always build your foundation. You might not want to build it too much because then it'll look cakey, but you can always build on top of what you have. And I'm sorry the lighting here. I'm sorry the lighting is so bad. And just rub it in. Now, I mentioned in my first video that I prefer this to a beauty blender. And the reason being is I feel like this is easier for me to control. I've got control issues. I think it's just as easy to control as like your beauty blender is. And pretty much it's just short strokes for me. I kind of do both a dabbing motion and a swiping motion at the same time. And I'm not looking for my foundation and stuff to be flawless. I'm doing an everyday look. It's, I need to get my makeup done, let's leave, let's go. Big thing. I see people do all the time. Makeup on it, blend it down. Blend it down. Have you ever seen an Oompa Loompa? Just go around looking like Oompa Loompa in the face and Edward Scissorhands in the body. Blend, blend, blend. You just want to blend all the way down. If you need more, you can always grab more. You can always do more than what you've put on. Me personally, I might need a little bit more today because my acne's just been so bad recently. Now, you want to be careful of how many layers you're using because eventually this might get cakey. I'm not looking to make my face a perfect, flawless look. That for me is reserved more for like glam makeup. Everyday makeup is not glam. I said it. Fight me. I use NYX or I'll just use a drugstore brand. For me, I'm using medium. Sometimes it's a little dark on my skin, and I'll have to mix in a lighter powder. If you want to go foolproof, just use translucent. This I just feel like it helps me out with a little bit extra coverage without being cakey, without being flawless. It still gives me more of a natural look. And I get it, this natural look entitles a lot of makeup. And that's usually how it goes for people with worse skin. What is my hair doing? Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing? What is this? What is this? Okay, whatever. But just because it's more products does not necessarily mean it is heavy products. I get it. Some products are super, super heavy, and those are normally reserved for glam. You know, if you want to go all out, do that bold red lip and things like that, you go, girl. I bet you look fabulous. I ain't doing that crap every day. What is going on? Are you good? Are you good? Whatever. All right, back to what I was doing. So what I do is I'll take a little bit of it and I'll put it in the cap, or I'll put it on the brush and then like dab it into the cap. I know a lot of girls who bake underneath their eyes. I don't do that on a daily basis. And again, if you want a glam tutorial, I will give you a glam tutorial. But right now we're doing everyday natural beauty. So you take a little bit of powder on your brush and you just kind of buff it into your face a little bit. Set your foundation. That's basically what powder does, is it sets your foundation. And you don't need much. Beware of powdered. Beware of it. It will try and choke you and kill you. Next, we're going on to contour. I know a lot of people who get contours mixed up. And what I mean by that is the fact that I have some people who's like, oh, I went and contoured my face and it didn't seem to do anything, or I went and contoured my face and I just looked dirty. You're using the wrong colors for your face. And there's two ways to contour. There's cream and then there's powder. For me, on an everyday basis, I just use powder. It's easier to blend. I don't like cream that much unless I'm going for a very extreme look. If I'm going for an extreme look, cream is perfect. For every day, I seem to want to use powder. For me, I don't have a powder contour. I have cream contours, but palettes. Get yourself a nude palette. If there's one thing that I can recommend to you guys other than foundations and stuff like that, it is a palette. A nude one preferably. Because there are so many colors that you can just pick and choose what you need. Again, you always want to go for something that will complement your shade. I had one of my friends come up to me and say, well, I did the contour the exact way you did, and it didn't even show anything on my face. The problem is said person is about 3 or 4 skin tones darker than I am. So my contour will either look really light on somebody or it was their skin tone. So you always have to go a couple shades darker than your skin tone. I've had girls paler than me go for like almost black. And it's like you can do that if you're looking for like an edgy extreme look, but for a everyday contour, go for something about 2 skin tones darker than your skin tone. Something that's not so extreme that your face ends up looking dirty, and something that's not so light that it just ends up blending in with your foundation. I use this one. It's just an angled brush. It's pretty thin. First edition 120 BH Cosmetics. The second tray, there's 2 trays that come in this. That's why this is there. I've already took the first tray out. But I use this, and you can see where I run across because some of these are a little dark for me, but others are way too light. This one is about perfect, and this one helps darken it up a little bit. But if I run it across the 3, and I'll even run it into the yellow a little bit, I know that sounds weird, but I'll even run it into this kind of like yellow, creamy yellow, because it kind of evens everything out. It's not too dark for me. It looks pretty dark, but it just looks darker on camera. These are actually pretty light. So I'll take my brush, and again, if you want to get a nude palette, that is your best friend for natural makeup. So nude colors, and I just run it back and forth along all these colors. Go into your cheekbones. See how dark that is? but it's not so dark that it makes me look dirty. Now, there's several places that you want to start your contours at. You want your cheekbones, so to find underneath your cheekbones, suck in your cheeks. I'm fat, so it's a little for me. But if you're thinner, sucking in your cheekbones and going into the hollows is the best. If you're very new at this, go and get your powder and go into a 3 motion. You want to get up here, you want to get the sides of your face, and you want to get down here. I use my kabuki because it just tends to even everything out perfectly. And you just want to rub back and forth. Blend that all out evenly. You want to make sure your darkest area is right here, but you do not want it to be a strict line. You want it to be nice and light and, pretty. If you want, I don't do this every day, you can contour your chin right here and you can contour your nose. Personally, on my chin, I use a brush. And I just try and give myself a smaller chin. You can use your ring finger. Pick up a shade and go alongside your nose. I go up into my eyebrow area because I feel like if you just go like this, it doesn't look right. And I do it on the other side too. Take that brush. Do not go in the center. Buff out. Buff out and away. And you don't have to use a brush this big. I use the same brushes for multiple purposes because it's just easier. I don't have to clean as many brushes and, it just gets the job done. Next step is to do blush. You don't have to do blush. I used to never do blush, but it really does help in adding a lot of color to your face. They do have blush brushes. They're not as densely packed, but I don't put much on it anyway. And you want to go into the apple of your cheek and kind of go out a little bit. I know some people who use double brush, 2 blushes, and sometimes it can look amazing, sometimes it looks really fake. You just want enough to give yourself a light little rosy look to you. It looks a little red, so again, you can take that kabuki brush and blend it out. You can always fix anything you've done wrong. Trust me, I do makeup wrong all the time. Alright, now here's the final thing for your face. Highlight. This is the same concealer that I used. It's the other end. It's my highlighter. And this is a very light one. I'm not going to let people see my cheekbones from space. So I just go highlight my cheekbones. You want to get your cheekbones. You want to get the bridge of your nose, your chin. And another thing is, if you've gone a little too heavy on your contour, pop the tiniest bit of highlighter right between under your chin and the hollow of your cheek. Just brighten that area back up. And then right here should be a nicely highlighted area. And then you just blend that out. And once again, I'm using my kabuki brush. You can use the same brush for multiple things, people. Nobody gives a damn. So blend this out. And yes, I did just use this to blend out my blush a little bit, but I've cleaned the brush. And in my eyeshadow tutorial, you'll see how you can clean your brushes off so that you can get most of the pigment off. Just blend all the highlighter out. And you can also use your finger. For me, I use my finger on my nose. And on my upper lip. My face is not perfect. I don't want people to think that this makeup is supposed to make your face smooth and flawless. It does not. If I can get you guys closer, you can see I still have some spots that aren't as good as others. I still have some areas that are a little more bumpy than others, and you know, you can still see the flaws. This is not a makeup to make you look flawless, but this is just to enhance your natural beauty. Now my face is done. That's how I personally do my face, and that's some tips on how it can be easier for you to do your face. So the next video that I'm doing is eyes. I will teach you how to do your eyebrows, kinda, you'll see, and I will teach you how to do your eyes. But for right now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if you have different ways that you do your makeup. Maybe I can try something different. If it works for me, I'll let you guys know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.